writing a book really is a labor of love, inspiration, and creativity. And I started conceptualizing the legacy around the time I published Night of the Half Angel. And the story is really brought about by a bunch of different things that I was inspired by. And of course, I was able to create an original idea based off of all of these various things. Last year's Halloween was a sequel to the original 1978 classic, and it brought back both John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis for a sequel that takes place 40 years after the original. And I I liked it. It was a very safe sequel. It was very much a return to form for the series that I think a lot of fans were craving. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought about a new direction that this series could go. Like if I had John Carpenter's ear, I would have been like, we never see Dr. Loomis's family or his home life, or if he had kids, a wife, how his obsession to hunt down the ultimate evil affected his family. We never got to see that. How awesome would it have been to explore that in a new Halloween movie where we get to see the kids of Dr. Loomis, or even his widow, who has teamed up with Laurie Strode. And that would have made, I thought, for a compelling and original Halloween film. I thought that something like that would be really, really interesting. And of course, they didn't go that route. That was just kind of an idea I had in my head, but I sort of saved it, and I thought, I could create my own story, my own characters. Danny Doberman, the subject of Henry Hunt's obsession in The Legacy, reflects the Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis relationship quite a bit, but I didn't want to just create another slasher knockoff. Around this time, I was also getting into films like The Shining, Suspiria, and Stay. Watching The Shining for the first time, I wasn't that impressed. I won't lie, I didn't like it all that much. I thought it was fine. Jack Nicholson's performance was the biggest problem I had with the movie, but something kept calling me back, and I'm not sure what that was. It was something about the film that I knew that I was missing. And really, it's the themes, the atmosphere, and the inevitability of a father that wants to hurt his kid and wife. It's strictly different from the novel, but in the movie, it's more about the inevitability of it. And of course, that movie explores all sorts of other themes and has lots of symbolism, and it tells its story in more of a visual way as opposed to dialogue. And the last shot of the film, which I have framed right there, is one of the most famous shots ever. And everybody has a different idea on what that means. And Kubrick never explains exactly what this means. And I wanted to write something like that. I wanted to write something where characters and objects and even creatures weren't just that. They were parts of the story. They are part of the DNA, so to speak, of what the story was trying to convey. And I took that even a step further when I watched Suspiria. And again, like The Shining, I wasn't that impressed upon first viewing, but with more viewings, I became more haunted by the film and more interested and more just amazed at how Dario Argento was able to create this painting with this movie. Like his Suspiria and its sequel Inferno is very, very colorful, and I wanted to make sure that I absolutely wanted to use colors as sort of a character on its own in The Legacy to mix with the ideas and themes I got from The Shining and my sort of Halloween pitch. The structure of The Legacy, I was definitely influenced by the movie Stay, which isn't a horror movie, but again, its characters and themes are not traditional in any sense at all. A lot of characters represent different ideas or different feelings. They're not like actual people, if that makes sense. I don't want to give away what the movie is, but the Legacy structure is very, very similar to. So I took all four of these elements, put them into a blender, and created something of my own, and that's basically what the Legacy is. The Legacy is an experimental piece for me. It is completely different from my urban fantasy books, which I love those, but the Legacy is something that really tested my creativity and really tested what I could do And I'm absolutely thrilled with how it's being received so far and hearing more from beta readers and people who have read it 2 or 3 times, because that's really what I wanted to get out of it. I wanted people to have the same experience that I had with Suspiria and The Shining. With each time I experienced those movies, I loved them more and was more terrified from them. And I wanted people reading The Legacy to have that sort of same experience where each time they read it, they pick up more of the puzzle pieces and are able to experience the themes and a sense of fear for what these characters are going through. Leave a comment below. Let me know if there is a book or a movie that you really love that tells its story in an untraditional way. You can check out my book, The Legacy, on ebook and paperback. All those links are listed below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.